Good evening, I'm Diana Swain, and this is The National.
I was encouraged to purchase overdraft protection. I asked for a little bit more information about it. He said that I could just trust him.
TD Bank now says it will look into allegations about sales tactics unearthed by CBC News, as some call this story a possible turning point. We take you inside Iraq, where desperate families flee the battle for Mosul.
Sanitation is an issue, food is an issue.
Girl Guides of Canada cancels trips to the U.S. Is it part of a wider trend? Plus, the legendary Kalashnikov. It isn't just for killers anymore.
For kids too. I love AK.
Since CBC News first revealed allegations of unethical tactics used by some TD Bank employees, our Go Public team has been inundated. Emails from hundreds of current and former employees sharing their stories. Some even saying they felt they had to break the law to meet sales quotas. Now some customers are questioning their banks, and TD is on the defensive. Jacqueline Hansen has the latest.
It's fundamental to the entire banking industry, trust. But claims by TD employees that they felt forced to use aggressive sales tactics are raising questions about whose interests come first.
They should do something just to improve their customers, I guess, like their trust.
CBC's Go Public team continues to hear from TD employees and former employees who say they were under intense pressure to hit sales targets, some even saying they broke the law to do it.
I feel bad. I feel bad for what they're making me do.
In TD's latest response, it says, "We take the feedback we have received in this area very seriously. We will review all of the concerns raised, and we are committed to doing the right thing." At this downtown Toronto branch, young and new to banking, Yasmin Harris felt unprepared to say no to a sales offer.
My experience in the TD Bank 10 seconds ago was that I was encouraged to purchase overdraft protection. I asked for a little bit more information about it. He said that I could just trust him and take it.
You're going to be pressured.
Al Rosen's investigative accounting firm looks into the finances and failures of major Canadian companies.
It's great that there's a wake-up call here. It's even better that the bank responded to say, we're going to find out what's happening. And in that sense, they're positives. But in terms of many other issues, the size of money that's being lost through various pressure tactics or otherwise is huge.
At a time when many in the banking industry are trying to prove that they're still necessary as digital banking and robo-advisors become more popular, some experts say it's critical to maintain trust.
This is dealing more with issues that is more and more salient today, especially with younger people. I see it with my own students all the time, the millennials, where they really take seriously things about ethical principles, ethical behavior, corporate social responsibility.
Canada's main financial watchdog says it has serious concerns about the allegations of aggressive sales tactics, and it says it will be watching if similar complaints surface across the banking industry as a whole. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
Feeling stressed out about filing your taxes? Doesn't help when the Canada Revenue Agency shuts down its electronic tax filing website for what it called internet vulnerability. The service is back up and running now, but the CRA brought out some big hitters today to explain what happened and reassure Canadians their personal information is safe. Marco McDermott explains.
It's pretty unusual to have so many top bureaucrats lining up to answer questions from reporters. But the government pulled out all stops today to reassure Canadians that its computers and their privacy are safe.
We're confident that we've prevented government information, including the personal information of Canadians, from being breached.
The problem was identified last Wednesday, a flaw in software that's used to create websites worldwide. Essentially a hole that allows hackers to get into computer servers. This cyber expert describes it this way.
It's basically a cat and mouse game where you patch those holes and that means you can go in. But as soon as there's a new hole, and that's the vulnerability, somebody can have access to the actual server where information resides.
Federal computer experts started going through tens of thousands of government servers to see if their software had the problem. On Thursday, they found hackers had logged on to the Stats Canada website, so they shut it down.
It was most likely a target of convenience, just some random hacker giving it a shot.
Then on Friday, they shut down the Canada Revenue Agency website as a precaution to prevent hackers from getting in.
I think this is an example of the system working really well. As soon as we had an indication that there was a potential vulnerability, we took action to bring servers offline so they were protected.
But it hasn't worked so well in the past. In 2014, the Heartbleed virus allowed a hacker to access the CRA website and steal private tax information about hundreds of Canadians. Things have improved since then, according to this expert.
I actually want to give them kudos because not too many government bodies will actually go to the extreme of shutting down a website.
The websites are operating normally now, but federal IT specialists are still checking to make sure they've found all the flaws in the system. And even though the CRA website was down for 2 days, they won't be extending the tax filing deadline. Margot McDermott, CBC News, Ottawa.
About 100 million people in eastern Canada and the northeastern United States are in the path of a powerful and dangerous winter storm. Heavy snow mixed with high winds is making conditions treacherous. Up to 30 centimeters is forecasted for Hamilton and the Niagara region of Ontario. By tomorrow night, up to 45 centimeters of snow could cover Quebec's eastern townships, and Atlantic Canada will get hit after that. South of the border, more than 6,000 flights were canceled today ahead of the storm, including in New York City, which is under a blizzard warning. And the cleanup is underway in Newfoundland and Labrador after the weekend's windstorm. On Saturday, hurricane-force winds ripped roofs off homes and snapped power lines. A couple thousand customers in the St. John's area are still in the dark tonight. The vice continues to close on ISIS fighters in Mosul. Coalition forces are carrying out a relentless assault, vowing not to stop until the militants are crushed. But ISIS is famously stubborn. While its territory is shrinking, the group still has snipers, mortars, and human shields. But as Derek Stoffel reports, they're starting to lose those too.
For these Iraqi families, life in Mosul is simply unbearable. So they flee, leaving behind the battle between Iraq's army and ISIS. The fighting forced Abu Fahad, his wife, and their 7 children out. We had to leave, he says. My family was nearly starving. But at this army checkpoint, some unexpected sweet relief. Abu Fahad says ISIS erased all joy from Mosul. This is the first time the kids here have had a snack and some pop in more than 2 years. Soon, their journey to safety gets underway. The displaced come here to this assembly point. The women separated from the men who are questioned. Officials are trying to stop ISIS fighters from escaping the city. Then onto this massive camp run by the United Nations. As the fighting rages north of here in Mosul, the exodus continues. These people are among the 5,000 who are fleeing every single day. Chaos as more Mosul residents arrive. Heavy rain today made their suffering even worse.
Water is an issue, sanitation is an issue, food is an issue. So all the basics of survival are needed for people who are fleeing the war.
Still, this camp offers shelter and security. ISIS made us suffer in poverty, she says. They made us hate life. This man says the militants forced men to grow long beards, while women always had to cover their faces. Ignoring the rules could bring death. Bashar Ibrahim worked in construction, but there was no work under ISIS. It got so bad he had to burn the family's furniture to heat an oven to bake bread. It was like living next to death, he says. Now we are living again. But still, 750,000 people remain trapped in Mosul. As the fighting continues, the UN is building new camps for those who can escape. Derek Stoffel, CBC News, near Mosul.
And the suffering drags on in Syria as well. Today, UNICEF released some grim figures on how the war there is impacting children. More than 650 children were killed last year. That's a 20% jump over 2015. More than 250 died in or near a school, and hospitals don't prove much safer, with more than 330 attacks on medical facilities and staff. At least 850 kids have been forced into combat by one side or another. A Nova Scotia man faces a total of 21 charges in connection with the exploitation and trafficking of two 15-year-old girls. Leanthon Oliver is accused of luring the girls to his home, holding them against their will, sexually assaulting them and forcing them to have sex for money. A teenage girl contacted a friend who called police. Investigators fear there may be other victims. Omar Khadr is recovering in hospital tonight after surgery on wounds he suffered during a 2002 firefight with U.S. soldiers. The 19-hour operation was to try to fix his shoulder. Khadr spent more than 10 years in custody at Guantanamo Bay and then back in Canada. He eventually pleaded guilty to killing a U.S. medic in Afghanistan. Khadr was freed on bail 2 years ago and has been living in Edmonton with his lawyer. The head of Canada's spy agency is retiring. Michel Colomb announced he will leave CSIS after 30 years at the end of May. The move comes just 1 week after the head of the RCMP announced that he will retire in June. Coming up, they thought they'd be stars on reality TV.
Honestly, I was so excited. I was crying at points of time.
Then reality came crashing in. Plus, modern Muslim women find freedom in the hijab. Canada's Girl Guides don't often take news-making decisions, but today the organization did just that. Guide trips will no longer cross the U.S. border for fear that some individuals might have to be left behind. CBC's Fez Jamil has the story.
Yeah, Costa Rica. So that was a provincial trip.
Girl Guides say traveling is a big part of the Girl Guide experience. Allison Keene is a volunteer and former Girl Guide herself, but she won't lead any of her girls south of the border because of the new U.S. travel policies.
It's a very diverse membership base. So I think just even explaining to the girls if they're prepping for trips and understanding that everyone comes from a different background and we want to be making sure that we're picking destinations that everyone's invited to and everyone's included in.
Previous and upcoming travel bans in the U.S. have forced many Canadians to reconsider their trips to the United States, especially after several incidents of Canadians being denied entry, even if they had traveled to the U.S. before without incident.
Yes, it was a tough decision because traveling is a big part of the Girl Guiding program.
The Girl Guides say it was a tough decision, but they're not taking any chances.
These girls fundraise for the trip sometimes for months in advance, years in advance, and it would be quite disappointing for a group to get to the border only to find out that one of their members couldn't cross the border. And the sisterhood of guiding is really about no girl getting left behind.
The Girl Guides aren't the only ones changing their itineraries. School boards from Victoria to Windsor, Ontario have opted out of trips to the U.S. And just last week, Westmount High School in Montreal scrapped an upcoming trip to Washington, D.C. for its graduating classes because 4 students were from Iran and didn't have Canadian passports.
I've realized that we are all a family. We travel together. We're a pack, so.
According to the American travel data analysis firm Tourism Economics, tourism to the U.S. is going down, largely due to Trump's image and policies, including the travel ban. Their projections show a decrease of 6.3 million visitors to the U.S. by next year, including nearly 1.2 million Canadian travelers. Similar groups such as Scouts Canada tell CBC they won't prevent their members from traveling to the U.S., just that they should plan their trips carefully. Fez Jamil, CBC News, Toronto.
The political fight over the future of Obamacare is even more intense tonight. An independent review of the President Trump-backed Republican plan just came out. And while the repeal and replace crowd will like some of it, the main diagnosis might give them a bit of a headache. The CBC's Paul Hunter has the details.
The uninsured rate has never, ever been lower.
In his farewell speech to the country as president in January, Barack Obama highlighted a key achievement. Under Obamacare, more Americans than ever before had health insurance. Though he added, if someone comes up with something better
that covers as many people at less cost, I will publicly support it.
Cut to this morning, and President Trump at a meeting with those who oppose Obamacare, predicting the future of U.S. health insurance on his watch.
You'll see rates go down, 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 and you'll see plans go up, up, up.
But even as Trump was saying that, the Congressional Budget Office, or CBO, a nonpartisan group that studies the effects of legislation, was set to release predictions of its own on the new Republican plan to replace Obamacare. Its headline, a stunner. Under the new plan, by 2018, 14 million more Americans would be uninsured compared to what it would be with Obamacare, and that by 2026, that number would grow to 24 million. But the new plan would bring huge savings for the government. Over 10 years, it would trim U.S. deficits by $337 billion. Premiums overall would go up, then down, but for seniors, they'd only go up. Say Republicans, the report fails to factor in other pending regulations aimed at reducing costs and creating other benefits. Trump's new Health and Human Services Secretary, who'd oversee the plan, said the CBOs flat out got it wrong.
We disagree strenuously with the report that was put out. We believe that our plan will cover more individuals at a lower cost and give them the choices that they want, for the coverage that they want for themselves and for their family, not that the government forces them to buy.
Say Democrats, baloney.
We should know the truth. Before we enact major legislation, we should know the truth. CBO speaks the truth.
Leaving Americans as they embark on yet another political war over their own healthcare system back where they've been so often before, listening to politicians argue over who knows best for everyone else, while everyone else just wants a system that works. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Canada's universal healthcare system is being praised for helping patients of one chronic disease live longer, healthier lives. New research shows that people with cystic fibrosis live much longer here than in the United States. Cass Rusey looks at the other factors.
Eric Bauer is grateful for every breath he takes. He was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis when he was 5. Cystic fibrosis is caused when the body produces a thick, sticky mucus that clogs the lungs. For decades, life expectancy for people with the genetic disease was around 17. Bauer has beaten the odds.
Certainly now being 31 years old, I've come a long way, but still see many good years left in my future, hopefully.
Canadians like Bauer who suffer from cystic fibrosis are living longer now. And even better, a new study says their lifespan is almost 10 years longer than their counterparts in the United States. Based on American and Canadian data from 1990 to 2013, the average survival rate was almost 51 years in Canada, compared to just over 40 years south of the border. A big factor, lung transplants.
There were more lung transplants being done in Canada compared to the U.S. And also of the people who died, more people died without a transplant in the U.S. compared to Canada.
Researchers also point to a substantial difference in healthcare delivery between Canada and the U.S., specifically Canada's universal healthcare system, which provides everyone with access to care.
I have a sense that the social safety net may be a little stronger in Canada as compared to the U.S. So what the contributing factors are, it's not entirely clear to us from this study, but certainly a topic of future research.
Canadians with cystic fibrosis also had better survival rates because of a nutritional intervention back in the 70s. Foods high in fats were recommended because they're easier to absorb. A similar plan wasn't implemented in the U.S. until the 80s. What's clear to Eric Bauer is that he's managed to live a normal and longer life despite the disease, and a huge milestone is coming up. He'll be a father for the first time. Cass Rusey, CBC News, Toronto.
As the British Parliament gave its approval to trigger a Brexit later this month, Scotland's First Minister lobbed a bit of a bombshell. Nicola Sturgeon says Scots need to decide for themselves whether to give up EU membership.
Whatever path we take, it should be one decided by us, not for us.
Sturgeon says she will call a second referendum on Scottish independence between the fall of 2018 and spring of 2019. But there's a twist. To hold it, she will need permission from the British Parliament. Egyptian authorities have ordered the country's former longtime ruler be released from a military hospital. 88-year-old Hosni Mubarak has been held since being deposed in the 2011 Arab Spring. Earlier this month, the court dismissed the final criminal charge against him. Meanwhile, an infamous name from the 1970s is back in court. The man known as Carlos the Jackal is on trial for a 1974 Paris grenade attack that killed 2 people and injured 34 others. The 67-year-old has been in prison since being captured in 1994, then convicted in 2 other terrorism cases. Well, you may not recognize his name right away, but you may have heard his story. Ed Whitlock was a master marathon runner who ran his most recent race last fall at age 85. This was him setting a record at the 2003 Scotiabank Toronto Waterfront Marathon. Whitlock was the first runner in his 70s to complete the race in under 3 hours.
I really thought that would be the last time that I would run a marathon under 3 hours. I seriously thought that.
In fact, he improved on his time the following year and went on to set records in the 75, 80, and 85-plus categories. Ed Whitlock died today of prostate cancer just days after turning 86. Straight ahead, non-Muslim women make a statement by wearing the hijab.
We grew up in small-town Newfoundland. There was not a lot of diversity, and so the learning experience for us is worth it. We're trying to walk a mile in their shoes.
A group of non-Muslim women in Fort McMurray recently spent 30 days wearing the hijab whenever they left the house. It was a response to the deadly attack on a mosque in Quebec City and an attempt to find out what other women suffer just for displaying their Muslim identity. Various other non-Muslim women recently made international headlines for wearing the hijab or for refusing to. And it all shows just how much emotion and suspicion can be attached to that piece of cloth. And as you'll see, Canada is not immune.
Marine Le Pen, the far-right leader, set off the large controversy.
A disrespectful breach of protocol, a refusal to wear a headscarf.
When you were pictured with the Quran.
Support for Islam by taking selfies in hijab.
Self-proclaimed first feminist government in the world were donning hijab.
There have been a number of controversies about the hijab across the globe in recent weeks. There was the case of Lindsay Lohan being asked to remove her headscarf at Heathrow Airport.
When I was flying to New York recently, I was wearing a headscarf and I got stopped. She opened my passport and saw Lindsay Lohan and started immediately apologizing, but then said, please, but take off your headscarf. What scared me is that moment, how would another woman who doesn't feel comfortable taking off her headscarf feel? That was really interesting to me.
Then you had Marine Le Pen, who, on a visit to Lebanon, was asked to wear a headscarf in order to meet the Grand Mufti of Lebanon, and she refused to do so.
Also discuss regional development.
Finally, you had a female government delegation from Sweden visiting Tehran in Iran, and out of respect, they chose to all wear a headscarf, and this provoked quite a bit of backlash back home. Many criticized the so-called feminist delegation for covering their hair while visiting politicians in Iran.
In various fields.
Some of the reasons for these controversies are probably because the hijab has been associated with Muslim women. And in these cases, It's non-Muslim women who have either decided to wear it or not to wear it for whatever reasons. And I think that's a new territory for a lot of people.
Here in Canada, we have not been immune to the types of controversy that surround the hijab, whether it has been a woman being told in a Montreal courtroom that she couldn't appear before a judge until she removed the headscarf.
The first question from the judge, she asked me, why you are putting this scarf on your head? I told her I'm a Muslim.
I will therefore not hear you if you are wearing a scarf on your head, just as I would not allow a person to appear before me wearing a hat or sunglasses on his or her head, or any other garment not suitable for a court proceeding.
You still have a bill in Quebec on the table which, would require anyone receiving or giving public services to uncover their face, which is the niqab, not so much the hijab. There is still discrimination on the job of women who do wear hijab.
I think it's so important to understand that there are still too many negative connotations when it comes to women and the headscarf. When women are wearing the headscarves on our streets, in our schools, on public transit, there is still fear that they may be targeted, either discriminated against or outright physically assaulted.
In a time of overwhelming stigma, I fear being othered, profiled, and killed. In a country I call my own. My identity is challenged, and my actions are heavily scrutinized. I am simultaneously silenced into shame while being expected to apologize for the actions of a small group of people that do not represent me or any...
We have Muslims in Canada. We're a relatively young community in terms of the number of years we've been in Canada, and what you're seeing is an emergence of a Canadian brand of Islam. For example, Little Mosque on the Prairie, created by Zarqa Nawaz, who grew up here, and this is a Canadian icon.
Mr. Bones, dressing up like the Taliban. That's so topical.
Taliban? And we're here from Montreal, Quebec to ask for $90,000 in exchange for 10% of our company, Modeste.
We had a Dragon's Den episode a little while back of a Montreal a couple who are trying to start their own fashion house of modest clothing.
Great feel of the product. It's nice fabric. And what do you mean by modestly?
Very cool. I wear a hijab, I wear the veil, so
you do? Okay.
I dress a certain way, and I just style things that are more modern, more fashion forward.
Oh.
We also have this rise of Generation M, as it's been called, of young, modern Muslim women who want to participate fully, who want to embrace their faith identity, but also want to embrace the cultures that they live in. They want to embrace Canadian culture, and they're very proud to play hockey, wear the hijab, if they choose to.
I think there's a lot of negativity within the community, within our communities, because I would say of patriarchal structures that don't want to see women advance, like women like you or me who are in the arts or in media doing really cool things, and people don't want to see us progress, but we're doing it regardless, right?
There is no doubt that there are women around the world who are forced to either wear a headscarf or wear a face veil, and that is to be condemned. No one should be coerced to wear something they don't want to wear. But that being said, I think it's very important that we listen to Canadian Muslim women's voices. We respect their right to wear, to not to wear, and simply to be.
Women in Iran also face pressure over the hijab. Of course, it's pressure of the opposite kind. But even as they live under laws inspired by hardline clerics, they find ways to express freedom through fashion. Nala Ayed was recently in Iran and filed this report.
At the Tehran Exhibition Center, it is virtue that is on offer. A soft sell on the many ways of observing proper hijab. Less desirable, though not entirely decommissioned, are the all-black uniforms of the revolution days of 1979. Still, the aim in these halls isn't to skirt conservative clothes, but to give them a conservative update. The fashionable scarves are designed to make women look more chic, says Mansoureh Bayat, one of the company's owners. This way, women can keep their hijab and look more attractive at the same time, she says. In what is ultimately non-negotiable under Iranian law, renewal is no longer the purview of just liberal Iranian women. Even among conservative ones, an update is what's needed to reinforce it. Our country is a country of young people, and they demand innovation when it comes to clothing, says Elahi Atai, head of Tehran's Women's Affairs Department. We feel the need to keep our fashion up to date while respecting the Iranian Islamic values. Nearly 4 decades after the Islamic Revolution, the tests of those values are escalating, despite the expectation of public modesty. Western styles and brands are encroaching all the time, pushing the boundaries on tightness and length, on makeup, or the amount of hair that can be shown. The boundaries slide even more online. On Facebook, My Stealthy Freedom, for instance, started in the UK, encourages Iranian women to be photographed without hijab altogether, and countless have done it. Alternatively, men are photographed wearing it in solidarity. No surprise, the old zealous efforts to police bad hijab on the streets have expanded online, even arresting women who show too much. So there are those like Anousheh Asafi who work as diligently to help Iranian women look and feel 21st century, just within the law.
10 years ago, people don't follow the fashion that much, but now we follow the fashion. For example, if short dresses are popular, people wear short mantos. They know what color is the color of the year and what is the specific design of the famous designers. As a result, they try to show themselves, their taste of fashion. They like to look beautiful. They are patchwork and they are handmade.
Her brand, Anar, which means pomegranate, is heavy on Iranian symbolism.
Then I put a man from Negargaris.
And adamant on providing choice.
People have different opinions. Some wants to be strict with hijab and some wants to be a little bit free. In my generation and in my friends, we are a little bit free.
At a time when hijab can't seem to stay out of the headlines abroad, the question still here isn't whether you wear the hijab, it's how. Nala Ayed, CBC News, Tehran.
And when we come back, it's not just a gun, it's a lifestyle.
The Kalashnikov for Russians, it's something in the legacy of every man in Russia.
The gun maker expands its brand after countries like Canada put the squeeze on sales. Plus, a smooth-talking stranger stokes TV dreams. It's one of the most instantly recognizable weapons ever created, and one with dark connotations. From Hollywood blockbusters to the nightly news, the AK-47 has long been synonymous with bad guys, depending on which side of the Iron Curtain you grew up on. For decades, it was standard issue for Soviet troops, revolutionaries, and terrorists. The AK-47 proved so popular, its creator suffered a crisis of faith and begged forgiveness on his deathbed. But now in its home country, it's enjoying a renaissance. Susan Ormiston on the rebirth of the Kalashnikov.
Friday night, Moscow at a downtown bar. In this cave-like space, weapons on every wall. Artifacts from the Great War, the Cold War, even modern warriors. Its name, Razvedka, means intelligence service. It is the local watering hole for Russian spooks and security police, given its proximity directly across from the former KGB, now FSB. What then could be more fitting than its Kalashnikov door handles, the infamous Russian-made weapon with its deadly reputation. In an old Moscow brewery, gun enthusiasts pay to experience the Kalashnikov, a gun of legend. Tatiana Glukova is a medic in the Russian army who wants more practice and some shooting tips.
This is AK-47, the original one. It shoots with the 7.62 bullet. It's very famous, even in nowadays. It's a very famous weapon and very durable.
Igor Fedukin manages the shooting gallery, which opened 18 months ago.
Do you get tourists too?
Yes, sure. We have a lot of tourists from all over the world, from Germany, Netherlands, United States, Canada. So they come and try shooting, especially Kalashnikov and other famous Russian guns. They just interested how we shoot in real life, how it's difficult or not to shoot from real Kalashnikov.
The AK-47 is a weapon of choice for murderers, mercenaries, and soldiers. With its invention in 1947, Soviet engineer Mikhail Kalashnikov became as famous as his gun. An estimated 100 million are still in circulation. But the company has lurched through good years and bad ones, especially after Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, when the US and Canada slapped sanctions on individuals and companies, including barring any business with Kalashnikov, sending a shockwave through the arms maker.
This was a big hit for us, for sure. When the sanctions were introduced, we dropped our export volume nearly by half.
As Vladimir Dmitriev tells it, Kalashnikov was forced to retool the company from the factory floor up.
As long as you're being cut from one of the most profitable and prosperous markets for you, you have to find some other strategy. And that answer we managed to find in the diversification of the business itself.
Today, Kalashnikov Group is undergoing modernization.
What's emerged is a modernized factory with new investment in small arms and now unmanned surveillance. Export orders have doubled, says the company, from countries not part of the sanctions.
So this is the one?
The newest AK should hit the civilian market this year, followed by its military cousin.
I think we are still the good old Russian guys who are producing the good old Kalashnikov. But now we are also technologically profound.
And now, at a Moscow airport, Kalashnikov sets its sights beyond gun-toting warriors. More to the traveling consumer eager to snap up a little something with the branded K.
So what does that mean, I'm your father?
It's an old one, and I think it tells to the new one that he's his father. The Kalashnikov for Russians, it's not a brand, it's something in the legacy of every man in Russia.
Kalashnikov opened this first-in-the-world concept store here at Moscow's Sheremetyevo Airport. So prior to boarding, you can get branded Kalashnikov products, everything from a mock-up rifle to a kid's T-shirt.
Yeah, for kids too. I love AK. The AK is Kalashnikov rifle.
I love AK in children's sizes.
Children's sizes, yep.
Is anybody ever offended by that?
No, not at all.
You can't buy an AK-47 here or any ammunition, but you can purchase or order a mock-up rifle or one that shoots pellets.
The second type we have, it's a one that can shoot blank bullets. Everything the same like on the mock-up, except one thing, it can shoot real blank bullets.
Plans are to expand the concept stores in Russia, then beyond. Also, to manufacture plastic rifles aimed at teens playing strike ball, blurring the line between mock and real.
No.
Offering pistols for purchase here.
This one is one of the most famous pneumatic pistols in Russia.
Artyom, do people actually come into this store in an airport and buy a pistol?
Yeah, every day actually.
Really?
Yeah. So why not? Why not? And I think it's a good gift from Russia, a good souvenir.
Something to slip into your luggage. A memento of Russia's famed weaponry, packaged a little more gently. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Moscow.
Just ahead, small-town restaurant owners feel taken in by a stranger. We track him down to ask where their money went. But first, let's check the day's business numbers. The TSX rose 38 points. The Canadian dollar was up 1/10 cent. In New York, the Dow fell 21 points, and the price of oil was down 9 cents a barrel. What small business wouldn't love the chance for widespread TV exposure? And that was the pitch offered up to 2 small-town Ontario restaurant owners. They jumped at the reality show offer. The whole town rallied behind them in spirit and financially. But what happened next is why they called Go Public and Rosa Marcatelli.
Well, hello world. It's Chris Robinson here, motivational speaker, host of Burger Wars, co-star of Wahlburgers.
He's a fast talker who makes a lot of promises. Chris Robinson convincing 2 small-town restaurant owners they could make it big, that he could give them the opportunity of a lifetime, the chance to star in a reality show called Burger Wars, where restaurants broil up their best burgers in hopes of being crowned the best burger in town.
Honestly, I was so excited. I was really happy.
Robinson seemed to have all their credentials and be connected to all the right people. He told the restaurant owners to pay $500 and gather thousands more from town residents in sponsorship money to make it happen. They not only gave money, but also time, renovating one of the restaurants for the show. Just days before the taping, Robinson canceled. He didn't reschedule and kept the money.
Because I just felt like a fool. I felt like a total fool because I should have caught it.
Can I find a burger in town?
The company that owns the real Burger Wars has never heard of Robinson. The real host says they would never ask restaurants to pay for anything.
The more I think about it, the more livid I become. I know how important it was to all of the restaurant owners.
What the town didn't know is Chris Robinson is a convicted fraudster. Go Public found while Robinson was telling people he was a big-time producer and asking for money in Ontario, across the country in British Columbia, he was a wanted man, facing 3 new fraud charges. After he took the town's money, both restaurant owners filed complaints with local police. Investigators determined it was a civil, not criminal matter. Ontario Provincial Police won't say whether it checked to see if Robinson has a criminal record or was wanted outside the province. But BC RCMP tell us it only spoke with investigators in Ontario after Go Public's inquiries.
This isn't just little old Dunnville that's involved in this either. This is across Canada. So we as a group of us as Canadians should all come together and have this guy dealt with by the authorities.
Go Public managed to track Chris Robinson down, who told us he always intended to film the reality show in Dunnville and planned to change the name after finding out it already existed. He says he never claimed to be involved with the real Burger Wars, and after speaking with us, he'll give the money back. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Calgary.
Many of Go Public's stories come from you. There are lots of ways to get in touch with the team, either on the website or directly by email, gopublic@cbc.ca. You can also follow Go Public on Twitter. Coming up, if recent winter weather has been an inconvenience, this could make you feel like you got a lucky break. Well, this will put the pain of scraping ice off the windshield into perspective. This house is on the shore of Lake Ontario, ice almost 20 centimeters thick in some spots. Strong winds whipped up water which froze onto the structure during the recent cold spell. The lake house is a summer getaway and wasn't occupied. The British robot submarine called Autosub Long Range is starting its first mission, a vessel known better as Boaty McBoatface. The unmanned vehicle will map the waters off Antarctica to help research their link to climate change. Boaty was overruled as the name for Britain's new polar research ship, RRS Sir Richard Attenborough, is currently under construction. And just before we go, Peter Mansbridge has a favor to ask.
So, do you have a science question that's always puzzled you? Well, it's that time of year again when the national science correspondent, Bob McDonald, takes your burning questions. Questions like, why are planets round? Or are they? Why do cats always land on their feet? Or why, if the Earth is spinning, don't we feel dizzy? Send us your questions for Bob by email to thenational@cbc.ca, on Twitter to @CBCTheNational, or if you're watching us on Facebook, ask your question in the comments section.
And that's The National for this Monday night. For news at any hour, you can always go to our website, cbcnews.ca. I'm Diana Swain. Thanks for watching.